I never thought the smell of almonds would save my life.
Drink it while it's hot, Winona.
My own mother had just handed me poison.
I never thought the smell of almonds would save my life, but I also never imagined my own mother would try to end it. The coffee cup sat in front of me, steam curling up like a question mark. My birthday, 28 years old. And my mother, Constance, stood over me with that tight smile she reserved for obligations. Drink it while it's hot, Winona, she said. Not happy birthday. Not I love you. Just drink it. I lifted the cup. The smell hit me first. Bitter almonds. Sharp. Wrong. My hands froze. I'd read about this once, in some true crime article I'd stayed up late reading. Cyanide smells like bitter almonds. My heart slammed against my ribs. Across the table, my sister Bridget scrolled through her phone, completely unaware. Golden hair, perfect skin, Mom's favorite everything. The daughter who could do no wrong. The one who got the birthday parties, the praise, the love I'd spent 28 years begging for. Something wrong? Mom asked. Her voice was too casual, too watching. I looked at her. Really looked. Her eyes were flat, cold, like she was waiting for something. My stomach twisted. This wasn't paranoia. This was real. My own mother had just handed me poison. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Warm welcome to the family, enjoy the story. My mind raced. Call her out? She'd deny it. Run? She'd know I knew. So I did the only thing I could think of. I faked a cough, reached for a napkin, and in the confusion, I switched our cups. Mine to Bridget. Hers to me. You okay? Bridget asked, barely looking up. Fine, I whispered. Just went down wrong. Mom's jaw tightened. She saw. She knew what I'd done. But she couldn't say anything. Not without admitting what she'd tried to do. We sat there, 3 women in a kitchen, 2 of us knowing the truth, 1 completely clueless. Bridget, honey, drink your coffee before it gets cold, Mom said. Her voice shook just slightly. Bridget rolled her eyes, the way she always did when Mom fussed over her, and lifted the cup to her lips. My cup. The poisoned one. I should have stopped her. I should have screamed. But 28 years of being invisible, of being the spare, of watching my sister get everything while I got nothing, it all crashed over me at once. Maybe just this once, I thought. Maybe just this once, she could feel what it's like to be me. Bridget took a long sip. Then another. Mom's face went white. I sat perfectly still, my heart hammering so loud I was sure they could hear it. 30 seconds passed. A minute. Bridget set down the cup and went back to her phone. Then her hand started shaking. The phone slipped from her fingers and clattered onto the table. I don't feel good, she whispered. Her face had gone gray. Sweat beaded on her forehead. What had I done? Growing up, I learned to make myself small. Quiet. Easy to forget. Because in our house, there was only room for one daughter to shine, and Constance had picked Bridget before I even had a chance. I was 7 when I first understood. My school had an art show. I'd painted a sunset, spent weeks on it, mixing colors until they looked like fire. I was so proud. I brought home the flyer, showed Mom, asked if she'd come. She glanced at it for half a second. We'll see, she said. Translation, no. But when Bridget's dance recital came up 2 days later, Mom took off work. Bought a new dress. Sat front row with flowers. I went to my art show alone. The teacher hung my painting in the hallway. Nobody from my family ever saw it. That became the pattern. Bridget's soccer games, piano recitals, spelling bees. Mom was there for all of it. My track meets, debate competitions, honor roll certificates. I got a that's nice if I got anything at all. By the time I hit high school, I stopped trying. Stopped bringing home achievements. Stopped expecting her to care. I became a ghost in my own house. The spare daughter. The backup plan. The one they kept around just in case. Bridget never noticed. Or maybe she did and didn't care. She basked in Mom's attention like it was sunshine, never questioning why I stood in the shade. Sisters are supposed to protect each other. Ours never worked that way. I moved out at 18. Got a tiny apartment, worked 2 jobs, put myself through community college. Mom didn't even help me pack. But when Bridget needed money for her apartment, for her car, for anything, Mom's wallet flew open. I told myself I didn't care anymore. I'd built a life without them. But you can't just stop wanting your mother to love you. That need lives in your bones, quiet and aching, waiting for the smallest crumb of affection. 3 months ago, my grandmother died. Mom's mother. The only person in my family who ever saw me. Who remembered my birthday. Who asked about my life. She left a will. Nobody told me what was in it. Until this morning. My 28th birthday. When Mom showed up at my door with coffee and that horrible tight smile. Now Bridget was slumping in her chair, gasping, her lips turning blue, and I realized the truth. Whatever Grandma left me, it was worth killing for. The morning had started wrong from the beginning. I woke up to silence. No calls. No texts. Not even from Grandma, and then I remembered. She was gone. The first birthday in 28 years without her voice on the other end of the line. I made breakfast. Checked my phone. Nothing from Mom or Bridget. Not that I expected anything, but birthdays have a way of making you hope for impossible things. By 10, I'd given up. Started getting ready for work. Another year older. Another year invisible. Then the knock came. I opened the door and there she was. Constance. Holding a thermos and a small bag. Happy birthday, she said. The words sounded rehearsed. Forced. But she was here. My mother was actually here on my birthday. Mom. I couldn't hide the shock in my voice. Can I come in? She didn't wait for an answer. Just walked past me into my small kitchen. Set the thermos down. Pulled out 2 cups. I brought coffee. Your favorite. Hazelnut. It wasn't my favorite. She didn't know my favorite. But I didn't correct her. I was too stunned that she'd come at all. I wanted to talk to you about something, she said, pouring the coffee. Her hands were steady. Too steady. About your grandmother's will. There it was. The real reason. Okay, I said slowly. She pushed a cup toward me. Kept one for herself. She left you something. Something substantial. Her eyes were on my face, watching. The house. And her savings. Almost $2 million. The room tilted. What? She left it all to you. Not me. Not Bridget. You. Mom's voice was bitter. Hard. After everything I did for her. All those years taking care of her. And she left it all to the granddaughter who barely visited. That wasn't fair. I visited Grandma every week. But I didn't argue. I was too focused on the coffee cup in front of me. On the way Mom kept staring at it. On the strange urgency in her voice when she said, "Drink your coffee, Winona. Before it gets cold." I picked up the cup. Brought it close. And that's when I smelled it. Bitter almonds. Faint but there. My blood turned to ice. Is Bridget coming? I asked, stalling. My voice somehow stayed calm. Mom's eyes narrowed. She's outside. In the car. I wanted to talk to you first. Alone. She pushed the cup closer. Drink. I heard Bridget's voice then, calling from outside. Mom? How long is this gonna take? Come in, honey, Mom called back. Her eyes never left mine. Bridget walked in, perfect as always. Saw the coffee. Ooh, is there enough for me? Of course, I said, standing up fast. Too fast. Here. Take mine. I need to grab something from the bedroom. That's when I made the switch. Smooth. Quick. My cup to her spot. Her cup to mine. Mom saw. I know she saw. But what could she say? And now Bridget was dying in front of us, and I'd put the poison in her hand. Time does a strange thing when you watch someone die. It stretches and snaps, seconds feeling like hours, hours feeling like heartbeats. Bridget's breathing turned shallow, ragged. Her perfect face twisted in confusion and pain. "Mom," she gasped. "Something's wrong." I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. My sister. My annoying, spoiled, golden child sister who'd stolen every ounce of our mother's love. She was dying. Because of me. Mom lunged forward, grabbing Bridget's face. "No, no, no." Her voice cracked. Real fear. Real panic. This wasn't the plan. Bridget wasn't supposed to drink that coffee. I was. "Call 911. I screamed, my paralysis breaking. I grabbed my phone, hands shaking so hard I could barely unlock it. Mom spun toward me. Her eyes were wild. Desperate. "What did you do?" "What did I do?" The words exploded out of me. "You poisoned me. You tried to kill me for money." Bridget made a horrible choking sound. Foam appeared at the corners of her mouth. This was real. This was happening. Whatever frozen anger had held me still before shattered into pure terror. The 911 operator's voice crackled through. "911, what's your emergency?" "My sister," I choked out. "She drank something. Poison. Cyanide, I think. She needs help now." Are you enjoying the story so far? If you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. Mom was trying to make Bridget throw up, fingers down her throat, but nothing was coming. Bridget's eyes rolled back. Her body started seizing. I'd done this. I'd switched the cups. I'd let her drink poison meant for me because for one ugly moment, I wanted her to suffer the way I'd suffered. "Ambulance is on the way," the operator said. "Is she breathing?" I crawled closer, put my ear to Bridget's chest. Her heartbeat was erratic, fading. "Barely," I whispered. Mom was crying now. Real tears. Rocking Bridget in her arms. My baby, please." The same mom who'd never held me like that. Who'd never called me her baby. Even now, even knowing what she tried to do, she only had room in her heart for one daughter. And I'd almost killed her. The inheritance. $2 million. Grandma's house. That's what this was about. That's why Mom had shown up with poisoned coffee on my birthday. She'd planned this. Premeditated murder. Her own daughter. But I was just as bad. I'd switched those cups. I'd known what would happen. I'd let Bridget drink it anyway. Sirens wailed in the distance, getting closer. Mom looked at me over Bridget's limp body. "If she dies," she whispered, "you killed her." The words hit like a slap. Because she was right. I had. The door burst open. Paramedics flooded in. They pushed us aside, went to work on Bridget. Needles. Tubes. Oxygen mask. Chest compressions. Their voices were calm and clinical while my world fell apart. "What did she ingest?" one of them asked. Mom and I looked at each other. 1 second of perfect understanding. If I told the truth, we both went down. If I lied, Bridget might die because they wouldn't know how to treat her. "I don't know," Mom said. "She just collapsed." The lie hung in the air. Heavy. Poisonous as the coffee itself. But I couldn't do it. Couldn't let Bridget die to save myself. "Cyanide," I said. "It was cyanide in her coffee." The lead paramedic's head snapped up. "You're sure?" "Yes." My voice was steady now. Clear. It smelled like bitter almonds. It was in the coffee. They moved faster. New medications. New urgency. One of them was already calling the hospital, shouting medical terms I didn't understand. Hydroxycobalamin. Sodium thiosulfate. Antidotes. Mom's face went sheet white. "Winona, what are you doing?" "Saving her life," I said. "Unlike you." The paramedics lifted Bridget onto the stretcher. She looked so small. So fragile. Nothing like the confident, beautiful girl who'd walked into my apartment 20 minutes ago. One of the EMTs turned to us. "Which one of you is riding with her?" "I am," Mom said immediately. "Both of you need to come," another paramedic said. His voice was hard. "The police will want to talk to you." "Police?" The word landed like a stone. This wasn't just a medical emergency anymore. This was a crime scene. They loaded Bridget into the ambulance. Mom climbed in beside her, still crying, still playing the devastated mother. I stood in my doorway watching the lights flash red and blue across my walls. A neighbor peeked out, then quickly shut their door. Nobody wanted to be involved. A police car pulled up. 2 officers got out. One older, gray-haired, tired eyes. One younger, sharper, watching everything. They walked toward me with the kind of casual confidence that made my stomach drop. "Ma'am, I'm Officer Hernandez," the older one said. "We need to ask you some questions about what happened here." I let them inside. My apartment suddenly felt too small. Too exposed. The coffee cups were still on the table. Evidence. Proof. "Can you tell us what happened?" Officer Hernandez pulled out a notebook. Where did I even start? My hands were shaking again. I sat down before my legs gave out. My mother came over this morning. Brought coffee. My sister drank it and collapsed. I think there was cyanide in it. You think? The younger officer, his name tag said Rodriguez, moved closer to the table. How do you know? The smell. Bitter almonds. That's what cyanide smells like. They exchanged a look. Rodriguez pulled out gloves, carefully lifted one of the cups. We'll need to test this. Which cup did your sister drink from? My throat closed up. The truth sat on my tongue, heavy and horrible. That cup. The one in my spot. The one that was supposed to be mine. The one I'd deliberately given to Bridget. That one, I whispered, pointing. And who made the coffee? This was it. The moment where I either protected my mother or told the truth. The moment where I decided what kind of person I was. 28 years of neglect. 28 years of being invisible. 28 years of watching her love someone else. She tried to kill me. For money. On my birthday. My mother made it, I said. Constance made the coffee. She brought it here. She told me to drink it. She wanted me dead. The hospital waiting room smelled like disinfectant and fear. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, too bright, too harsh. I sat in a plastic chair that squeaked every time I moved. Mom was 3 seats away, staring at the wall, her face blank. We hadn't spoken since the police separated us at my apartment. They'd bagged the coffee cups, taken photos, asked the same questions over and over until my head spun. Then they'd sent us here. To wait. To see if Bridget would live or die. A detective showed up an hour later. Older guy, rumpled suit, kind eyes that didn't match the hardness in his voice. I'm Detective Morris, he said. I need to speak with both of you. Separately. He took Mom first. Led her down a hallway into some private room. I watched her go, shoulders straight, chin up. Still playing the victim. Still pretending. I pulled out my phone. My hands were steadier now. Shock wearing off, reality settling in. I opened my messages. Scrolled back 3 months to when Grandma died. Found what I was looking for. Mom had texted me exactly once after the funeral. The will reading is next week. You don't need to come. I'll handle everything. I'd ignored it. Figured she just wanted to control things like always. But now it made sense. She'd already known. Known Grandma left me everything. Known I'd get the money, the house, the life she thought she deserved. She'd had 3 months to plan this. 3 months to decide murder was easier than acceptance. The door opened. Mom came out, face red, eyes wet. Fake tears or real? I couldn't tell anymore. Detective Morris gestured to me. Your turn. I followed him into a small gray room. 2 chairs. A table. A camera in the corner, red light blinking. Everything I said would be recorded. Used. This was real. Tell me about this morning, Morris said, settling into his chair. Start from the beginning. So I did. Every detail. The unexpected visit. The coffee. The smell. The switch. His face stayed neutral, but I saw his pen moving faster when I got to that part. You switched the cups, he repeated. You gave your sister the poisoned coffee. I didn't know for sure it was poison, I said. I suspected. And I panicked. But you let her drink it. The accusation hung between us. Heavy. True. Yes, I whispered. For maybe 30 seconds, I let her drink it. Then I called 911. Why did your mother want you dead? I showed him my phone. The text messages. Explained about the inheritance. About the favoritism. About 28 years of being nothing while Bridget was everything. He listened, wrote notes, asked questions that cut like knives. Do you have proof she poisoned the coffee? Test it. You'll find cyanide. That proves the coffee was poisoned. Not who did it. His eyes were sharp now. Calculating. Your mother claims you made the coffee. That you tried to kill your sister for the inheritance. The room tilted. What? She says you've always been jealous of Bridget. That you blamed your sister for your mother's favoritism. That when you found out about the money, you snapped. Morris leaned forward. Did you snap, Winona? No. She's lying. She brought the coffee. She told me to drink it. Can you prove that? I opened my mouth. Closed it. No. I couldn't. It was my word against hers. Mother versus daughter. And I'd switched the cups. I'd let Bridget drink poison. What jury would believe me? A nurse knocked on the door. Detective? The patient is awake. She's asking for her mother. Morris stood. We're not done here. Don't leave town. I followed him back to the waiting room. Mom was already rushing toward Bridget's room. I trailed behind, my heart hammering. Bridget was alive. Thank God, she was alive. But when I reached the doorway and saw my sister sitting up in bed, pale but breathing, looking at Mom with complete adoration, I knew how this would go. Mom, Bridget croaked. What happened? Mom grabbed her hand, tears streaming. Real ones this time. Relief. Oh baby, you're okay. You're okay. Bridget's eyes found mine over Mom's shoulder, and something in her expression made my blood freeze. Did Winona do this to me? The question shattered something inside me. After everything, after the truth, after the poison, Bridget still chose Mom. Still believed her lies. No, I said, stepping into the room. Bridget, listen to me. Mom tried to kill me. You drank my coffee by mistake. She poisoned it because Grandma left me her inheritance. Bridget's face twisted with confusion. Pain. She looked at Mom. Is that true? Mom's performance was Oscar-worthy. Her chin trembled. Her voice broke. Of course not, sweetheart. Your sister is sick. She's been jealous of you for years. When she found out about the money, she lost it. She tried to kill you and now she's trying to blame me. You're a liar, I said. My voice was steady. Cold. You showed up at my apartment this morning with poisoned coffee. You told me to drink it. You watched me lift it to my lips. The only reason I'm alive is because I smelled the almonds and switched cups. You switched the cups? Bridget's eyes went wide. You gave me poisoned coffee on purpose? I didn't know for sure it was poison. I suspected and I panicked and yes, for a moment I let you drink it, but then I called 911 and told them it was cyanide so they could save you. A moment. Bridget's voice rose. You watched me drink poison for a moment? She wasn't wrong. I had. 28 years of resentment had crystallized into 30 seconds of pure hatred, and I'd let my sister suffer for it. I'd live with that guilt forever. But Mom had started this. Mom had brought death into my home. I have proof, I said, pulling out my phone again. Look. Mom's text from 3 months ago. She told me not to come to the will reading. She already knew Grandma left me everything. She's been planning this. Detective Morris appeared in the doorway. He'd been listening. May I see that? I handed over my phone. He read the message, his expression unreadable. Then he pulled out his own phone, made a call. Yeah, I need a warrant. Bank records for Constance Miller. And phone records. Both daughters too. Mom's face went white. You can't do that. I can and I am. This is an attempted murder investigation. Maybe 2 attempted murders. Morris looked at me. We found cyanide in the coffee. High concentration. Enough to kill within minutes. See. I turned to Bridget. She did this. But Bridget was crying now, clinging to Mom's hand. I don't know what to believe. You switched the cups, Winona. You let me drink poison. Even if Mom did make it, you're the reason I almost died. The truth of that hit like a fist. She was right. We were both guilty. Mom of planning murder. Me of letting it happen to someone else. I'm sorry, I whispered. Bridget, I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this. Bridget's voice was hard. Final. I want you to leave. Both of you need to leave. Morris stepped in. Actually, nobody's leaving yet. Mrs. Miller, I need you to come down to the station. We have more questions. Am I under arrest? Mom asked. Not yet. But we found something interesting in your car. An empty bottle. Labeled potassium cyanide. Care to explain that? The room went silent. Mom's mouth opened. Closed. No excuse came out. No explanation. The mask finally cracked, and underneath was something cold and desperate and dangerous. I want a lawyer, she said. Morris nodded. Smart choice. Let's go. He led her out in handcuffs. Mom didn't look at me. Didn't look at Bridget. Just walked away with her head high, still pretending she was the victim in all this. If you're still watching, thank you. This story gets even crazier. If you haven't already, smash that like button and subscribe. You won't believe what happens next. I turned back to Bridget. My sister. The golden child. The favorite. Almost killed because of me. I know you hate me right now, I said. I hate me too. But I need you to understand. She tried to murder me. Your mother tried to murder her own daughter for money. Bridget closed her eyes. Get out, Winona. Please. Just get out. So I did. I walked out of that hospital room and didn't look back. Some bridges burn so completely, there's nothing left to save. 3 days later, the other shoe dropped. The lawyer called me on a Tuesday. Ms. Miller? This is Patricia Chun from Anderson and Associates. I'm handling your grandmother's estate. I need you to come to my office. There's something you need to see. I went. Sat in a leather chair across from a woman in a sharp suit who looked at me with something like pity. Your grandmother left specific instructions, she said. Including a letter. For you. To be opened only if something happened to you before the inheritance was transferred. My hands shook as I took the envelope. Grandma's handwriting. Shaky but clear. I tore it open. My dearest Winona. If you're reading this, then I was right to worry. Your mother has always been a complicated woman. Ambitious. Jealous. Unable to accept that some things aren't hers to take. I'm leaving you everything because you deserve it. Because you've worked hard, stayed kind, and never asked for anything. But I fear Constance won't accept this. I fear she might do something desperate. The inheritance is structured to protect you. It cannot be transferred to anyone else if you die. It goes to charity instead. I made sure of that. So if she tries something, she gets nothing. Be careful, sweetheart. Trust your instincts. And remember, blood doesn't mean family. Family means love. All my heart, Grandma. I read it twice. 3 times. Grandma had known. Had predicted this. Had protected me even from the grave. There's more, the lawyer said. She pushed a folder across the desk. Your mother tried to contest the will. Claimed your grandmother wasn't of sound mind when she wrote it. We have medical records proving otherwise. And now, with the attempted murder charge, the case is closed. The inheritance is yours. All of it. $2 million. A house. Freedom. Everything Mom had tried to kill me for, and she'd get none of it. Grandma had made sure. But it felt hollow. Empty. Blood money bought with family betrayal. What about Bridget? I asked. Your grandmother left her nothing. The will specifically states the money goes to you and you alone. I thought about my sister. Lying in that hospital bed. Hating me. believing Mom over me. Still choosing the woman who'd brought poison into our lives. Can I give some to Bridget anyway? The lawyer blinked. It's your money. You can do whatever you want with it. Could I? After everything? After she'd called me a liar? After she'd thrown me out? Mom's trial was set for 6 months out. The evidence was overwhelming. The cyanide bottle in her car. The text messages. My testimony. The paramedic's testimony. Even Bridget's, reluctant as it was. But Bridget still visited her. Every week. Brought her magazines and snacks and hope. Still played the dutiful daughter. Still refused to believe her mother was a monster. I went once. To the jail. Sat across from Mom in an orange jumpsuit, phone pressed to my ear, glass between us. She looked older. Tired. Small. Why? I asked. Just tell me why. She stared at me for a long moment. Then she said, because you were never supposed to get anything. You were never supposed to matter. And I couldn't stand that she chose you over me. Not over Bridget. Over her. This wasn't about sisterly favoritism. This was about Mom's own mother rejecting her. Choosing the spare granddaughter over her golden child daughter. Grandma loved you, I said. She just loved me too. That was the problem. Mom hung up the phone. Turned away. Our last conversation ended with her back to me, just like always. The trial came. The verdict was swift. Guilty. Attempted murder. 20 years, minimum. Mom cried when they read it. Real tears this time. Not for me. Not for Bridget. For herself. Bridget still blamed me. Still said I'd switched the cups. Still couldn't see the truth even when it was spelled out in court documents and witness testimony. Love makes you blind sometimes. Even when it's toxic. I had to let her go. The courtroom was packed. News cameras outside. Reporters shouting questions. The case had gone viral. Poisoned coffee. Inheritance murder. Sister versus sister. Perfect for headlines. I sat in the back, hood up, trying to be invisible. Old habits. Mom was at the defendant's table in a gray suit her lawyer picked out. Trying to look sympathetic. Trying to look like the victim. The prosecutor was sharp. Methodical. She laid out every piece of evidence like building blocks. The cyanide bottle. The texts. The timeline. Mom's financial troubles we didn't know about. Gambling debts. Credit cards maxed out. She'd been desperate. Desperate people do desperate things. But then Mom's lawyer stood up. Young guy. Expensive suit. Slick smile. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, my client is not a murderer. She's a mother. A mother who was trying to end her own suffering. The courtroom went silent. The coffee was for Constance, he continued. She was planning to take her own life. The debts. The pressure. The shame of losing her mother's love to her own daughter. She'd reached her breaking point. And when she arrived at Winona's apartment that morning, she brought coffee laced with cyanide, intending to drink it herself. To end her pain in front of the daughter who'd stolen everything from her. I couldn't breathe. He was twisting it. Making her the victim. Making me the villain. But Winona, consumed by years of jealousy toward her sister, saw an opportunity. She switched the cups. She gave the poisoned coffee to Bridget, hoping to eliminate her competition for their mother's affection. This isn't a case of attempted murder by a mother. This is attempted murder by a daughter. The jury shifted. Whispered. Some of them looked at me. I wanted to scream. To stand up and tell them it was a lie. But my lawyer grabbed my hand. Let the prosecutor handle it, she whispered. And she did. She pulled out new evidence. Phone records showing Mom had researched cyanide poisoning 2 weeks before Grandma's will was read. Internet searches. How much cyanide to kill someone? Untraceable poisons. Inheritance laws if beneficiary dies. She presented testimony from Grandma's lawyer. The letter. The protection clause. Proof that Mom knew she'd get nothing if I died. If Mrs. Miller wanted to kill herself, the prosecutor said, why research the lethal dose? Why search for untraceable methods? Why structure the murder around an inheritance she knew she wouldn't receive? Because this was never about suicide. This was always about murder. The defense crumbled. Mom's lawyer tried to recover, but the damage was done. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Came back with a verdict. Guilty on all counts. But as they led her away, Mom turned. Looked right at me. And smiled. A small cold smile that said even in defeat, she'd won something. She'd destroyed our family. Turned sister against sister. Left scars that would never heal. Bridget didn't come to the sentencing. Didn't want to watch her mother go to prison. But she sent a letter. The judge read it aloud. My mother is not a monster. She made a mistake. She was hurting. And my sister took advantage of that pain. I will never forgive Winona for what she did to me. For switching those cups. For letting me drink poison. You're sending the wrong person to prison. The words cut deeper than any knife. My own sister. Still defending her. Still hating me. The judge gave Mom 20 years. No parole for 15. She'd be in her 70s when she got out. If she got out. I walked out of that courthouse alone. No family. No sister. Just me and $2 million and a lifetime of guilt. That should have been the end. The final chapter. Justice served. Case closed. But 3 days later, the lawyer called again. Ms. Miller, there's something else. Another letter. From your grandmother. She left instructions for it to be delivered after your mother's trial. No matter the outcome. I met her at the office. Took the second envelope with shaking hands. Dearest Winona. If you're reading this, then everything happened as I feared. Constance showed her true colors. And you survived. I need to tell you something I should have told you years ago. Your mother wasn't always like this. She was a bright, loving child once. But her father, my husband, he favored her brother. Made her feel small. Worthless. Second best. It broke something in her. Made her desperate to be loved. To be chosen. To be first. When she had daughters, she swore she'd never play favorites. But old wounds run deep. She saw herself in you. The spare child. The overlooked one. And she couldn't bear it. So she overcompensated with Bridget. Tried to give her everything she never had. But in doing so, she created the very thing she feared. 2 daughters. One loved. One forgotten. I'm not excusing what she did. Murder is unforgivable. But I want you to understand. Hurt people. And sometimes the cruelest parents were once the most wounded children. Don't let her pain become yours. Don't let this destroy you the way it destroyed her. You are not the spare Winona. You never were. Love always, Grandma. I folded the letter carefully. Put it in my pocket. And for the first time in weeks, I cried. Not for Mom. Not for Bridget. For the little girl I used to be. The one who just wanted to be seen. She was seen now. Finally. Completely. And that had to be enough. 1 year later, I stood in Grandma's kitchen. My kitchen now. Sun streaming through windows. I'd washed myself. Coffee brewing in a new machine. Fresh beans. Nothing bitter. Nothing poisoned. I'd quit my jobs. Both of them. Went back to school full-time. Studied art like I'd always wanted. My paintings hung on the walls now. Sunsets and storms and portraits of Grandma smiling. The inheritance sat mostly untouched in the bank. I lived on interest and part-time freelance work. Didn't need much. Didn't want much. Just peace. Bridget never called. Never wrote. Mom's sentence had created a permanent divide between us. Maybe that was for the best. Some family ties are chains, not bonds. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away. I thought about them sometimes. Mom in her cell, still believing she was the victim. Bridget in her apartment, still visiting on weekends, still refusing to see the truth. 2 people trapped in a story they couldn't rewrite. But I was free. Free from the need to be loved by people who couldn't love me. Free from competing for affection that was never meant to be conditional. Free from making myself small to fit into spaces that were never built for me. A friend stopped by with coffee. Real coffee. From a cafe we both trusted. We sat on the porch, talking about everything and nothing, and when she offered me her cup to try a new flavor, I paused. Just for a second. Old instincts. Then I laughed. Took a sip. It was hazelnut. Actually my favorite. Not what Mom thought was my favorite. What actually was. You okay? My friend asked. Yeah, I said. And I meant it. I really am. That night, I started a new painting. Not a sunset this time. A woman standing in a doorway, walking away from shadows, toward light. Her face turned forward. Never looking back. I titled it The Spare. Because that's what they called me. What I called myself for 28 years. But Grandma was right. I was never the spare. I was just the one they didn't see. The one who had to learn to see herself. The doorbell rang. I put down my brush, still wet with paint. Walked to the door. Opened it. A delivery guy held a package. Winona Miller? That's me. He handed it over. I signed. Closed the door. The return address made my heart stop. The prison. Mom's prison. Inside was a letter. 1 page. Her handwriting. Winona. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I need you to know I'm sorry. Not for getting caught. For what I did. For what I tried to do. You deserved better. You always did. I hope you're happy. I hope you're free. I hope you're everything I couldn't let you be. Mom. I read it once. Twice. Looking for the trap. The manipulation. The lie. But it seemed genuine. As genuine as a woman like her could be. I could write back. Start a conversation. Try to rebuild something from the ashes. Or I could let it go. Let her go. Close that chapter forever. I walked to the kitchen. Held the letter over the trash can. My hand hovered there. 1 year ago, I would have saved it. Clung to it. Desperate for any crumb of maternal love. But I wasn't that person anymore. I let it drop. Watched it fall into the garbage with coffee grounds and yesterday's mistakes. Then I washed my hands. Made fresh coffee. Went back to my painting. The woman in the doorway was almost finished. Just needed a few more touches. Some light in her eyes. Some strength in her shoulders. Some peace in her expression. I picked up my brush and smiled. Because that woman wasn't just a painting. She was me. And for the first time in my life, I was exactly where I belonged. Not the favorite. Not the spare. Just myself. And that was more than enough. Thank you so much for watching this story. If it touched you, if it made you think, if it reminded you that you deserve better than people who can't see your worth, please leave a comment below. Share your thoughts. Your story. Your truth. I read every single one, and your words inspire others who need to hear them. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on notifications. We have more powerful stories coming that you won't want to miss. Stories about survival, strength, and choosing yourself. Because you matter. Your story matters. And you're never alone. See you in the next one.